Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Lily, and I am so happy that you are here on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much. In today's video, we are going to work on two super cute projects, and we are going to use junk to make it happen. I'm not going to call it trash because it never made it to the trash bin. However, I did save it. I saved it from becoming trash. And you're not going to believe where I got some of these cute items from. But as our substrate, we are going to use two packaging boxes. And these are the perfect size. I have worked with these in the past, especially this Dove box here. And this one, the Tom's toothpaste, that one is a little bit smaller than what I typically work with, but it is a perfect box. And it's just the perfect size, feels so good in your hands. Best of all, I like that the spines to be are going to be about 1¼ to 1¾ inches. I like my spines to be anywhere between 1 inch and 1¾ inches. Borderline 2 inches. Anything more than that, I think it gets too big. I started out making like 4-inch binders or 4-inch spines. We don't do that anymore. Now, let me show you what else we are going to use because these are items that I have been holding on to since last Christmas 2021, and these are gift boxes that I purchased at Dollar Tree last year, and they were used. I am that person, you guys. I am that person that goes around and picks up all of the Christmas trash and hoards it. I pick it up, I weed through it, and anything that I believe is worth salvaging goes into my junky junk box. And these made it because why would I want to throw these away? They're perfect. I knew I would make something with them. I couldn't reuse them as a gift box because they were torn into. But the graphics on the front cover, look, they even still have the little to and from label on them. And they were torn into, but the top of them are perfect, and I am going to use them to make toppers for the junk journals. So as you can see, the snowman one I have already cut down to size. And the way I did that is by creating a template. Now, because most of my journals are 8x6, I cut that opening to be 8x6. That is the base or the standard size that I'm going to use. However, if my junk journal is a little bit smaller, then I'll make adjustments and I'll trim around it just so that it fits perfect on the front cover of the junk journals. But 8x6 is going to be my template size. If you want to make one of these templates, just cut a hole in a piece of paper that is the size that will work best for you. My size, again, 8x6. This right here, this cute little penguin, you guys, I know you've seen it in my videos for the past couple of years. This was a lid to a gift box. I don't know what happened to the bottom, but I kept the lid, and the lid actually lived on my desk for a very long time because that was the lid that I held my little scrappy bits in. Things I would stamp on and little scraps of paper that I'd keep on my desk so that I can use to build my ephemera or collage. So that is where that penguin lid came from. But it is pretty beat up now. And so we are going to also trim it down in a little bit, down to 8x6. And I'm showing you here the process as to how I cut down the gift box lid cover paper. So cute. Now, had I put more planning into this, I could have probably salvaged more of the images, and you'll see what I'm talking about up ahead. But with this one, I am just trimming around the edges so that it's easier to cut down once I put my template over. And you're going to see why it's important to use a template. If you look at your cover as it is now, it's pretty hard to kind of figure out what you want as your topper. Of course, we're going to keep the snowman, but then do we keep a tree? Do we keep the moon? Do we keep some of that snow, the base? You know what I mean. The template serves as a viewfinder, which makes it so easy to figure out the parameters of your topper. And all you do is, like a little viewfinder, you're just going to place it over what you like best, the image or the part of the image that you like best. And then once you find that perfect spot, then you mark it. And I'm just going to grab a pencil and mark the corners. And that's going to make my 8x6 square. And then I'm going to take it to my paper trimmer. And I'm going to use those lines as a guide to make my topper. Ta-da! Took me 8 months to figure that out, you guys. Not really, not really. I kind of knew I wanted to turn these into junk journals. I was actually going to use the entire length of the box and just fold it in half. And it really didn't matter that I was going to have my designs like this on the long side. They would have been sideways. That was the original plan. But then, so maybe it did take me 8 months. It took me 8 months to figure out that maybe I can cut down parts of it and make a topper and then just lay it on top of a junk journal cover. So, ta-da! That was my thought process, you guys. And I know it's August. I forgot to mention this early on. I missed Christmas in July because I was busy working on beautiful little golden books. And I haven't stopped. I still have a few more that I'm making. But because I wanted to do Christmas in July, and I believe I mentioned it in July. We're in August, you guys. We're 4 months away from Christmas, 3 months from Thanksgiving, and 2 months from August, September, Halloween. Oh my gosh. In the blink of an eye, you guys. In the blink of an eye. Okay. So we're doing Christmas in August. I'm doing Christmas in August. Everyone else already did Christmas in July. I'm a little bit late to the game, but guess what? We can make whatever we want, whenever we want. Okay, if you want to make Valentine's Day cards on Halloween, you go, girl. So I'm going to make Christmas junk journals in August. And I'll tell you why. I'm not going to have time in December to make Christmas anything. I already know I'm not. Last year, I was rushing to get it done. I was rushing to work on my own personal junk journal for Christmas, for the holidays. So that we're not going to do that. So at least I am a few months ahead of the game. Okay, so now we are going to trim this one down. This box cover is a lot thicker and a lot sturdier than the Dollar Tree gift boxes. And look at how cute. It has the penguin on both sides. And so you saw there, I tried to split it apart to see if it would split, and then I would have two images, but it was going to tear one of them. So I have to sacrifice one of the cute little penguins. And that's okay, because one of the sides has staining on it, so we're not going to worry about that, like ink and blotches and things like that. Okay, look at how stinking cute that penguin is. I just can't get over it. I love the penguin scarf. I love the little hat he's wearing. I love all the colors. His little candy cane, his bauble with the little hearts on it. Yes. So I want more of that bauble saved. So I am going to trim around that, and we're going to use that as a topper. Now, in this video, I only have time to, well, YouTube. I only have YouTube time. YouTube time? Well, I have endless YouTube time, but I don't want to make my video too long. So for the sake of time, I'm only going to do 2 junk journal covers. Only 2 of them. I know, so sad. But the video, as it was originally an hour and 20 minutes. I trimmed away more than 30 minutes of video. Most of it was, gluing the paper, cutting around the paper, trimming excess little bits, all those things that we don't need to watch. At least I don't think you want to watch me add gobs of glue on paper and trim all the little bits and pieces around my paper. So those are the things that I edited out and condensed it to 43 minutes. I am so glad that I figured out how to edit videos. And all along, I have a MacBook Pro that I use for uploading and editing all of my videos. And I've had it all along. I just didn't know how to use it. Oh, believe me, I've done so much research, you guys. And every day I learn a little bit more. So there you have it. I also have a desktop computer, Windows computer, on my desk that I use for my other work. You know, my other job. Okay. Because this cover was thick, it didn't quite cut through on my paper trimmer. So I'm just very carefully going to trim away the excess with my craft knife and using my ruler. Be very careful when you do this. The last thing you want is for that blade to skip or to jump over. You go easy. If you oh, hello. If you are not familiar with using an X-Acto knife or a craft knife, you go over it once just to score the paper and create a little indentation, and then you go over it a few times very gently until you finally cut through the paper. I edited all that out. It took me like 10 times to cut through, but I didn't want to, I'm saving you from watching all those unnecessary things. Okay, so now we have cut them down to size, and they are now all 8x6. Look at how cute. Can you believe these came from gift boxes and lids? That would have ended up in the garbage. And I often wonder about people that receive items packaged in boxes as cute as these. Do they throw them away? I've never thrown mine away. Never. And when I say never, I mean never since 1969, never. I keep everything. I save tissue, gift wrap, bows. I am that person. Are you that person? I cannot be the only one. I cannot. All right. Watch what I just did. Oh my gosh. I already know that we have to be very careful when taking apart the packaging. But I got a little aggressive. I got way ahead of myself, and I tore the edge of the box. But no worries, we're going to fix it. It's paper. Remember, it's only paper. And as long as we have tape, glue, and scissors, we can fix anything. Anything. Okay, so now this is the bit where I cut or I trim all around the perimeter of that box, and I'm following that little bump line, that crease, that score line around the edge to cut all around. And so I edited all that out. You can see that little tear there on the left-hand side. We're not going to worry about that. We're going to move on as if it didn't even exist. So I am measuring to make sure that I am cutting it down to the exact size that I want. And I want this one to be 8x6. So it's a little bit too long. So I am going to trim the excess. You could leave it this long if you want. Whatever packaging that you are working with, it's your journal. There are no what's the term I want to use? Guidelines or that you need to strictly follow. You do what makes you happy. And if your box is 12 by 14, you make a journal that's 12 by 14. Whatever makes you happy, okay? 8x6 is what we're doing. And I'm actually trimming it down 8.5. I'm leaving a 1/2 inch margin on this one. And you can see how it's a little bit, well, I'll show you in just a minute. But the edges aren't even. And so I'm actually going to leave a 1/2 inch margin so that I can just clean up the edges so that they're straight. That's all I'm going to do. Bottom line is I want it to be 8 by 6, give or take, approximately. I may go over, I may go under, but 8 by 6 is my goal. I do have a larger paper trimmer, but because I'm limited on space on my desk, I could not bring it up to put on my desk to use it. Because all you see here is this neat little square of crafting space, but I'm so glad you can't look around because it's crazy. You know how it is. You start working on a project and everything comes out of the treasure trove. Everything. Well, that's me. There is a lot of measuring, so keep a ruler handy and measure. You want to make sure that you are cutting down to the size that you want. So you're going to be constantly using that ruler and checking all the sides. So this little topper is going to fit perfect on this cover. Do you see how it's now taking shape? Yes. And now we are going to do the exact same thing to this Tom's box. But this time I'm going to be a lot more careful to make sure I don't make any unnecessary tears into the page. I've already trimmed it around. And can you see here, this one is smaller than the 8 by 6, but whatever topper I decide to use for this box, I will just trim it down a little bit. These are too cute to trim down. I've already decided that these are going to stay 8 by 6. So I'm not going to sacrifice these anymore. I've got plenty of other boxes that I can use to trim down. So I have chosen this cute Santa one. And this is what I was talking about. Had I put more thought into trimming this down, I could have probably saved the Merry Christmas sentiment. And I could have also saved that cute little stack of presents. And I could have used that as a die cut around it, fussy cut around it, and then used it as ephemera. But there I go, cutting right through it, and I didn't realize it until after, and it was too late. So I was just focused on my Santa topper, didn't even look around. I was like, what's it called, tunnel vision? Yeah. So next time I will plan ahead and save all of those cute extra parts. Now, this one, this topper is not, I'm not going to cut it down to 8 by 6. So I am measuring so that I can figure out where I want it and then cut down to size. So this one is actually going to be about 8 and 5 1/4. I think that's what it is. But again, I want you to know that my sizes are, I'm sharing my sizes with you so you can get an idea of what it is that I'm doing and the dimensions and everything that I'm using. But they are really irrelevant to what you are going to make because your packaging and your journals are going to be a completely different size. Or maybe you like the 8 by 6, but what I mean is measure twice, cut once. That's the bottom line. So I'm just trimming up the edges because some of those edges were a little bit wonky. And so I gave myself a little bit of extra slack just to make sure I even out those edges. Again, more measuring, you guys. And yeah, how many rulers do I use in this video? I don't know. I think I used 3 different rulers because when I would set it down, I couldn't find it again. How do you lose things on your desk? I do all the time. And this one is also taking shape. And now I've cut my little Santa topper down to size. Oh my gosh, these are going to be so stinking cute. So stinking cute. I'm excited, and I have a few more planned because I'm trimming all of those down as toppers, all of the boxes. And so I need to get busy. I'm going to get busy and work on as many of these only in the month of August. If I did not complete my Christmas journals in August, I'm afraid that I won't have any other time to work on them. So I'm going to be busy this month. I was busy in July. I think the month of July, I posted more videos than I ever have since I've been active on my YouTube channel. But I had so much fun, and I had a little extra time, more time in July than I usually do. My other work slowed down just a little bit to where it gave me a little bit of extra free time, and I use my time wisely, you guys. I don't waste a minute in my day. There aren't enough hours in the day for me to do all the things I wish I could do. I've got a long list every day. I like to watch videos on YouTube about slow living. I love those. They bring me so much serenity, so much peace, and I want to do that. I want to be more of a slow living type of person. Get up in the morning, enjoy the sunshine, which I do. I get up every morning. The first thing I do is I open my curtains, open my blinds, and I let those beams of those sun rays caress my face. Oh, I love it. I love the morning. I am a true morning person. Love it. And then I grab my cup of coffee. I walk out to the front porch and I breathe in some of that fresh air. Summertime air is the best. At 7 o'clock in the morning, especially when you've had a little bit of rain and you can smell the evergreen. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. I love the morning, you guys. I just saw a dove fly by. By the way, I'm recording this early in the morning. Today is Saturday morning and I have to work today. So I am recording this voiceover at 7 o'clock in the morning, you guys, because I want to have it ready for you for Sunday morning. So the morning is the only time that I have today. And I'm looking out the window as I was, sharing my morning glory with you. A dove flew by. They live there. There are a pair of doves that live in a pine tree on our front yard. And they are just, so there it goes. They're so beautiful. Beautiful. 2 doves. You can hear them. They make little baby doves every year. They come back. They've been there for years. I wonder if the baby ones also come back with their own family, and it's just, this is their home. This is where they come back. Okay, I was off track a little bit. So I cut down the green polka dotted paper, trimmed it down to size to place on the front cover to make it sturdy, because the packaging itself is not your cover. It's a little bit flimsy, so you want to add more oomph to it. Because it is our base. You could leave it as it is, but it is our base. We're using it as a guide, and then we just layer and decorate on top of that. I took other scrapbooking paper, this beautiful craft and green stripes. I love green. I love chartreuse. I love lime green. I love green apple color. I love it. And so I went searching through my stash looking for Christmas or holiday papers, and I came to realize I don't have a whole lot of them. So I'm using what I can, that kind of, because I like the traditional Christmas colors. So this one here, I trimmed down 4 inches wide so that it overlaps on that spine. I'm using the tape runner and glue because I need to make sure that it is really going to stick down when I make the creases. I don't want it buckling. I don't want it lifting. So I doubled up on the glue. The tape runner glue is really strong. The reason I add the art glue is the wet glue gives it a little wiggle room so that it doesn't stick immediately. You have a few extra seconds. So I overlapped it 1 inch on each of the spine creases, and you'll see what I'm talking about. This spine is just a little bit under 2 inches. I want to say it's 1 3/4. And these colors coordinate so well. The diagonal stripes with the polka dots, I love it. Side note, make sure that when you are working on a project, you use items and colors and patterns that you absolutely love. You have to love the items that you're using, because if you don't, you could be making a super amazing junk journal. But if you're using colors you don't love, patterns you don't like, no matter how great your journal is, you're not going to love it. You're going to like it, but you're not going to love it. So I have learned that the hard way. When I first started creating, I would use papers and patterns that I didn't care for because I didn't want to cut into my favorite ones. I didn't want to use I was hoarding all the things that I loved and using things I didn't love. So guess what happened? I would make these great greeting cards and scrapbooking page layouts, but I didn't love them because I was using all the wrong things. So take it from me, you guys. Only use what you love. So you can see how I made the creases. I used that thing to crease it. If you don't have that thing, use a bone folder. It's a thing because I don't remember what it's called. A scraper. It's a putty scraper. I'm doing the exact same thing on the inside. This, you guys, I'm going to share a little secret with you. I wasn't going to talk about it because I'm a little bit embarrassed, but I will tell you that I made a mistake right here. I didn't think that this craft cardstock was all that thick, and I thought it would work just fine to use as a spine. The problem is it's heavier than I needed it to be. When using papers to reinforce your spine, don't double up like I am doing with heavy cardstock. By doubling up, I mean I used it on the outside and now I'm using it on the inside. The problem here is it's going to make it really tough to fold. And then when I folded it, and you'll see what I'm talking about in just a moment, it buckled on the inside. The other reason it buckled, I mean, there's a whole lot of reasons why it buckled. One is the cardstock was too heavy to use on both the inside and the outside cover. Two, I forgot to put wet glue, and so the tape runner was not enough to hold that paper down when I folded it. And three, I didn't let it dry. I didn't let it dry. I needed to let it sit there and completely dry so that it adheres permanently, and I didn't do that. So don't make those three mistakes. I'm embarrassed about that because I should have known better. But we're creating. Remember, we are creating. There are no rules. You play with what you have. You learn from your mistakes. You fix it and you move forward. Don't let it ruin your day. And spoiler alert, I fix it. If you don't have a scraper, use a bone folder to make those creases. Be gentle because you don't want to crack your paper. And I'm so glad that my paper didn't crack, because if you were to use heavy cardstock that is too thick, when you fold it, some of them will crack. So that's why go gentle, crease it a little bit at a time. Do you see how it's lifting? I didn't use the wet glue. So I'm just going in and adding a little bit of wet glue where the cardstock was lifting. And I was doing fine. I was using the runner and the wet glue, but for this step, I forgot to use the wet glue. But that's okay. Remember, we have tape, we have glue, we have scissors. We can fix anything. Anything. Now it's time to line the inside of the junk journal cover. I will get back to more of that buckling in just a minute because it's not over. But right now, I have chosen this paper to use on the inside of the cover. This paper is so beautiful. The camera is not picking up, but all of those red poinsettias are glitter. Oh, you guys, glitter is my favorite color. It really is. I love glitter. Give me, and it's nice because it's not coming off. I mean, it's really on there. But even if it did, I don't mind walking around like I've got glitter on. So cut these, trim these down to size. They are so beautiful in real life. I wish you were sitting right here next to me so you could see. And I didn't think about showing it to you so you could see how it shimmers in the light. I'll do that in the future, in a future video. So gluing this down, again, I used the tape runner, and you could see those vertical tape runner lines on that piece on the right hand side. And I also used wet glue. I want to make sure that it really sticks down. Let me plug in my Mac because it is running low on battery. Okay, doing the same on both sides, checking it out, you guys. And this is where the page, the inside, started to buckle. And I was so bummed. I thought I had ruined it. But then I remembered my mantra. I have glue, I have scissors, I have tape. I could fix it. So I added a little bit of glue and then used my handy dandy clothespin clips because I thought for sure that was going to work. But I also didn't give it enough time to dry. So when I went to fold it again, it buckled. So make sure, if you really want your paper to adhere, to stick, even though it's fast drying glue, give it longer than a minute to dry. As I folded it, it's buckling, and I don't like that. I'm not happy. I'm almost thinking that I'm going to have to tear it apart. But I had an idea. I'm going to take my X-Acto knife, and it's almost like it's buckling because there's like an air gap in there. There's an air bubble. And so I am just going to release some of that buckling pressure, and I made a little slit on each side to release. And it worked, you guys, it worked. So then what I did off camera is I took it to the sewing machine and I stitched all the way around the front cover and then all the way around the back cover. And that also helped keep it from buckling. So, and before I stitched it, I let it sit and I let it dry. And then I ran it through the machine because, you know, the glue and all of that, I needed that to dry. I didn't want to mess up the machine's needle. And look at how beautiful that is. It's not buckling. It is beautiful. That paper on the inside with the poinsettias is gorgeous. And then look at that outside cover. The thread I use to stitch is gold on the inside and the outside. Oh, absolutely beautiful. I almost thought that I had ruined this cover. I almost didn't even upload this video because I didn't want to show you my mistakes. But then that would be hypocritical of me if I did that because I am not perfect. I said to myself, Lillian, get a hold of yourself, show your mistakes. Don't be embarrassed. I was embarrassed. That was the thing. I was embarrassed that I made a mistake. But, you know, I make mistakes on camera as well. And I thought, you know what? I made a mistake, and I'm going to show you how I fixed it. It may not be perfect, but it's not supposed to be perfect. It's only paper. I have to keep telling myself that. It's only paper. Now, the other mistake that I made is I was supposed to stitch Santa on the cover when I ran it through the sewing machine. And so that was a big oops. But I went ahead and I stitched around the Santa topper, and now I'm just gluing it down. No one will ever know. No one will ever know, except you, my friends. You guys will know. But that's what I mean is we can remedy these things, and it's not the end of the world, and it's okay to make mistakes and then just move on. Fix it and move on. Practice makes better, and it helped me, and so I decided to share in hopes that it will also help you. So that way we learn from each other, right? I think so. And if we repeat them again, well, then be it. This is the junk journal that I made earlier this year. No, was that last year? This year. I made it this year with that same packaging. But for this one, I used fabric on the inside. And I stitched all around. If you want to see this video, I am going to link it down below because this was really fun to make. It is so cute. This is my personal junk journal. It's filled with a lot of my own ideas, things that I've made, and I just kind of stick it in there. So as I go through my journal, I'm like, oh yeah, I made that. So that will be linked down below, but I used the exact same Dove packaging to make it. I'm going to work on this cover a little bit different. And the reason why I switched gears is because I didn't want to make the same mistake I made before with the paper. And I looked around for ideas and inspiration in my own journals, and that's why I pulled out that journal from earlier this year. And when I looked at it, I'm like, that's right, I've used fabric on the inside. Fabric is more forgiving. So when you bend the pages or the cover, the fabric moves with the color. You just have to make sure you really glue it down securely. And I'm going to use the Fabri-Tac. And I'm actually running low on Fabri-Tac. I'm almost out. Can you believe that? I can't believe it. I get so excited when I use up my product. I really do. Instead of hoarding it like I used to do long, long ago last year. Okay. I'm trying to center it. It is 4 inches wide. And I want to make sure that I have about the same on either side. And as I'm looking at it, it's really crooked. But it's okay. It's okay that it is crooked. I'm going to cover it. I'm also going to line the inside with paper, so some of that, the wonkiness is not going to show as much. And now I'm going to do the exact same thing on the outside. And I am using the grid marks on my glass mat as a guide to center the fabric. If you don't have a grid mat, you could also just pencil in the lines where you want to put your fabric down and kind of stay within those lines. I'm not taking my chances with the glue. Fabri-Tac works great on fabric. When you're gluing fabric to paper, paper to fabric, this one works best. I almost went to Hobby Lobby yesterday to go get some glue, but I know myself. And I can't help walking through the entire craft store. And first, I didn't have time. Second, I don't need anything else. I will need the glue soon, and I just decided that I would wait until I don't have any more and then run in and run out with the one item. I'll let you know how that goes. That's the plan. I'm going to take a sip of my coffee. Excuse me. I'm trying a new coffee today. It is so good. I am out of my coffee. So I like to buy the Starbucks dark roast, but I ran out, and so I went into my mother's stash, and she has a coffee called Donut Shop. Oh, that coffee's so good. Oh my gosh. It is so good. Do you want to know what my coffee recipe is? We use a K-cup machine. So I take the little pod, brew my coffee, and then I add a little bit of half and half, and then a teaspoon of salted caramel skinny syrup, which is sugar-free syrup, just a teaspoon of it because that stuff is potent. And then I add a scoop of collagen powder, and then I take my little frother and I froth up my coffee. Oh, so good. I have 2 of those cups every morning. Look at how cute that fabric looks. And when you bend the cover, it moves. The fabric moves with the spine. And you can kind of see it's a little bit wonky, but that's okay. We're going to use, this is part of that heavy craft cardstock that I had used for the spine. We're not doing that again, but it is perfect to add to the front covers. Perfect. It adds just enough weight so that when you hold the journal in your hands, it feels nice and sturdy. And those coordinate so well. The green and the red, love it. Love using traditional holiday colors, Christmas colors. And I'm going to do the same thing to the inside. I'm going to use the poinsettia glitter paper again. And this is even heavier cardstock. This is really heavy. And this one I've had for several years. And it was a Recollections brand from Michaels. I don't even think I purchased it. I think my mother purchased it for a church project. And she had a lot left over, so she let me have it. Or I took it, one or the other. I want there to be just a tiny little border around the snowman topper. So I am just going to trim away a sliver from the topper, just so a little bit of that green craft cardstock paper pokes through. Just a little bit. And I'm going to glue it down. And this time I remembered to glue it down before I run it through the sewing machine. So yes, I'm going to run this through a sewing machine. I don't get a chance to do it on camera. I do it off camera. And I left some of the edges free of glue so that it can run easily through the sewing machine. I love this so much. The scarf blends so well with the fabric on the spine, and that blends so well with the craft cardstock. All of the colors are cohesive. They match. They look so good together, you guys. Oh my gosh, I love these covers so much. I didn't think I was going to love them as much, especially that first one. But they are turning out so, so cute. And unfortunately, we are running out of time, so I can't show you the stitching, but I will show you in the next video. I may not have a process video as far as adding the signatures and things like that. But we'll see. We'll see what I end up doing. But look at how stinking cute they look. I am so happy with the way they turned out. I hope you guys are having fun and already working on Christmas and holiday projects. You guys take care. I appreciate you being here. Hey, if you are not subscribed, I invite you to subscribe to my channel, and I will see you here next time.